When I first got together with Helen, we were working on several different projects, and we'd work all week. But then the weekend would come and I just want to hang out and chill. And Helen said, "Oh, John, we have more work. Let's keep working." And I said, "But it's the weekend." And she said, "But we have work." And I said, "Well, it'll be there on Monday." And for a long time, we kind of had this back and forth because she didn't understand my style of work-life balance. The idea of work-life balance started with my generation, Generation X, because we had watched my parents, the baby boomers, most of whom are first-generation immigrants here in the United States. We watched people like my mother and father work and work and work and work forever. My mother used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drive through the dark and the cold up in New York to go to this place where she dealt with all these women who were very sick and very violent. And she did it every day for decades. And my father never stopped working. He still works now at 77 years old. Even on Sundays in our house, when we were watching the football game, all the family together, my mom would make food and my dad, we'd sit there on the TV. But my dad still had all of his work out on the floor. So he'd be there with us, but he was also working. That generation craved stability and they craved security. But guys like me, watching them work and just kind of have nothing but work in their life, I said, I don't want to live that way. I need a balance. I don't mind working. I have a strong work ethic. But I also need time to just unwind and just not do anything. So at first, my parents were concerned. "John, don't you want a better job? John, don't you want to work harder? Don't you want to keep? And I said no, and they were nervous, but they trusted me, so they let me do what I wanted to do. You have to remember, also, there was no internet. There were no cell phones. There were no smartphones. No social media. Today, because we're all so connected and everybody uploads stuff and talks about things, you hear back from society, and it gives you much more pressure. So when I was going through this time, there wasn't that pressure. My parents read the newspaper, but that was it. So they didn't hear from society like, "Oh, watch out for your son. He's not working hard enough." Initially, companies did small things. First, we had Casual Friday. Because everybody here usually wore a suit and tie, company said, okay, every Friday you can wear comfortable clothes, still formal, but just relaxed. So that was the first thing to try to give us more of a balance. After that, we had some telecommuting, which meant people who were able to work from home and could just call in if they needed to. They started letting people do that so that they didn't have to commute every single day back and forth. People spend a lot of time commuting. And then of course, more recently with these young startup companies and the software and just these young companies with young people, they tried to make the work environment more of a campus, more of a family structure. So they took down the walls, they took away all of the offices, and they put in ping pong tables and beanbag chairs, and you have nap time, and the food in the cafeteria, you had all these choices. So the idea was to try to make people feel better and happy at work. They have nurseries so that people can bring their children and leave them in the nursery at work all day and go see them during the day. At lunch, a mother or father could go see their kid. They put a lot of exercise where you could run around the building during the day. And so it tried to make people feel better to be at work. What's interesting about this moment in time in the United States is that now, as we're getting through the pandemic, all these people who've been working home for over a year, now the companies are going, wow, maybe we don't need to spend all this money on a big office in the middle of New York City. It's super expensive. And so some companies, I have a friend whose company said, we're never going back to the office. You're working from home from now on. And so it will be interesting now moving forward to see how the companies are going to react after seeing that the companies can keep going even if people are at home. Let's see what happens. So what happens to people like me or the younger generation here, the millennials now, are the new generation looking for more of a work-life balance. In fact, they look more for a whole lifestyle. So work is just part of their lifestyle. It's not their life. And so what happens to people like us is we delay things. So the millennials now, they're waiting to get married. They're waiting to buy a car. They're waiting to buy a house. And also, we have less. We accept that we have less material possessions, and the material possessions that we do have, we just get them later in life when we finally save up enough money. But of course, in turn, we have more of a relaxed lifestyle where I'm able to enjoy things that my father was never able to enjoy. So you decide. But now get to work. It's been too long that you've been playing with the videos.